We met him at a live show that Kat and I hosted. He's an excellent performer, his beats are ridiculous, and he's not only a chart-topping hip-hop artist, he's also a producer, screenwriter, and he's been part of that Reach Records tribe. But now, he's making it on his own with his own label.
Derek remembers the beginning, the ache to get into music. He started working at a studio to save up money for gear and turned a bunk bed into a mic stand. Ingenuity, baby.
I've always admired artists that have constantly evolved over the years, and that's for me is very important. It's just that evolution. So I look at almost like my albums are a soundtrack to my life at that moment in time. The new album is called Reflection, and the whole concept of it is, if I was to nail it down to 4 words, it would be reflect God, reflect greatness. And it's the idea that we live in a society where you would think with the technological advancements we've made that people would be more inclined to be more individual, but they aren't. Like, it's almost as though we want to conform to these ideologies just so there's not this pressure to have to be dealt with, like, just so there's not this pressure to be, to be ostracized by the world. And I feel like what happens is when we do that, we really don't get to see the creme de la creme of what God has created. Like, God has created all of us to be great in our own ways. Like, I rap, I produce, I do music, and there's some people that can't do any of that. But just because they can't do any of that doesn't make them any less significant than me. Like, I can't make a rocket ship, but that doesn't mean I'm not significant. And I feel like what's happened is, like, oftentimes, like, God is like, I've created you this way. And he's like, I've made you this way, and just be the best, insert whatever that word is here. And we're like, nah, I think I probably would be I could be a better version of this person. And I always want to say, I don't want to be the B grade version of somebody else. I want to be the A grade version of me. And that's what the whole concept of this album is just really celebrating what God has done in us already. You're already great. Like, that's the whole concept, is just really to empower people to really look inside and see the greatness that God has already given them. For me, he was saying, remember the vision. Like, remember the initial vision. The initial vision was to start your own record label and create a movement in the way that I told you to create it. It wasn't necessarily to be a part of this massive thing that is doing amazing, which it is amazing, and I have some of my best memories of my life are with Reach Records. But at the same time, Reach has a staff that can only fit so many people, and there's only so many artists they can highlight, and I have a whole roster of artists that need my attention, and they also need my know-how, my business sense, and all of that stuff. So he's like, remember the vision. And there's times when you're like, I almost remember, it's almost like when Jesus took James and John and up to the mountaintop, and they were glowing and all that stuff, and it was like, let's just stay here and build a temple here, build an altar here. We'll build one for Moses. They were like, we'll build one, we'll just build 3 altars and just hang here. So at times it felt that way for me, just like, man, maybe I should stay here, but it's just the way things unfolded. It was like, it's time. And then at the time, my dad had passed away. My aunt passed away. Like, all kind of crazy stuff happened. And my wife got in a car accident. Just nutso stuff. And when you're in those moments, you really start to get an idea of what's important. At least what's important to you, right? So if money, family, which are all good things, money, family, prestige, if all of those things are the end all be all, what do you run to when they're gone? You see, what do you run to when they're gone? And that's what birthed Empire. Because I was literally going through a season where my family was being affected, my finances could be affected, and also my ability to make music at the level that I've been making it could have been affected. And I came to the conclusion that I'm either gonna go crazy trying to hold all of these pieces together, or I'm gonna rest in God, build his empire, and trust that he has my best interest at his heart. And that's where the whole album of Empire was birthed. So if we fast forward to the Reflection album, the idea now is I've went past that period. So now Reflection is more, okay, we know we need to build God's empire. How? What does that mean for me? Because when you talk about God's empire, it could be lofty, right? Like it could be way up here, and people have so many different ideas of what God's empire looks like when we're all a part of that. So I do my job best when I'm being the best me I can be.